Who won it. Stephen leads, straight out the traps, and Tom in Liverpool, and I'm delighted to welcome Beatrix Campbell, a feminist academic writer and journalist. Hello, Beatrix.
Hello.
Hello there, how are you?
I'm very good, how are you?
Great, really good. So, do we now have sexual equality?
Do you know, I have to laugh when I'm asked this question. It's absolutely obvious that we don't. You know, you go to the leading edge of our economy, the finance sector and the IT sector, and the pay gap there between men and women is 55%. I don't call that equality, do you?
A lot of women, of course, take career breaks, don't they?
It's got nothing to do with it. It's to do with what equivalent men and women earn and what women take home in that industry as compared to men.
Why is that happening?
Everybody knows that there is a pay gap that has huge consequences for women in their older years, for example, their pensions. And there's no good reason for that pay gap other than that historically women were paid a women's rate. It's taken 40 years or so to try and escape from that tradition. And men were paid, very often actually, for being men.
Men, this is something that was touched on earlier on by Julie Bindle. She says it's all social conditioning, that men, because of the structures of society, are more prone to violence, are more prone to being abusers. Is it something innate, or is it in conditioning? Is it sort of testosterone gone bad? Why does that happen?
I think what's interesting about the feminist position on all of this is that we're much less pessimistic about men and masculinity often than men are themselves. I think one of the things that we have to take really seriously is that there is a presumption that men will be violent. I have a little grandson of 2. You wouldn't believe the number of T-shirts that refer to havoc, chaos, being a little soldier, violence, wild cars, flames, the whole shebang. Just go into Mothercare any morning of the week and you will see an astounding set of assumptions built into the very clothes that we put onto our children. Girls are princesses and boys are wild.
But I wanted to play cowboys and have guns and toy guns when I was a little boy.
I wanted to play cowboys. Everybody in our street played cowboys and Indians.
What's wrong with that then?
Nothing at all.
No.
What I think is important here is that there is an assumption of violence associated with boys.
Oh, interesting. Let's bring Danny in Barnet and Tom in Liverpool. Danny, do you want to speak to Beatrix? He makes some interesting points. I don't think you might agree with them, Danny.
I completely disagree with her. I think she's completely misguided with her views, and I don't think she knows herself.
You think that men are born violent, do you?
I think you're completely...
Which views, Danny? Just highlight which view, and then I'll come back to you, Beatrice, and we'll bring Tom in. Which views are misguided, Danny?
Basically, women have got a lot more rights than men at the moment. Women have everything in their favour.
Like what?
Absolutely. Like what? You go to your local public services, there is women hours swimming, women's hours gym. Where are the men's only hours swimming? Where are the men's hours only for the gym? Why is it that women can take off whenever they want off work for family needs with no problem and expect the same pay? You try and, as a man, take off work for any family needs, it's much harder. You can't even complain it's unfair because they say it's a woman's duty.
OK, Danny.
Women can't expect everything to go in their favour.
Oh, you make your point. Tom in Liverpool, you come in as well, then we'll throw it back to Beatrix. Tom. Hello, Tom.
Hi, everyone. I agree with Dan. I think that the women always women seem to want everything their own way, and it really winds me up. I think the lady who was on before, I think her name was Julie Bindle.
Yes.
Well, she was a classic case of wanting everything her own way, and that lady may be right about the pay differences in the boardroom, but most of us don't live in the boardroom. Most of us have normal jobs, 9 to 5, and our pay is equal. Now, I'm sorry, but she can go on about aggression and violence and guns and what have you in play. But I just think it's an excuse. I really do, and that lady wound me up so much that I'm still wound up now. I'm really sorry, but
calm down, Tom. It's all right. You're expressing yourself very well. Beatrix, there's a lot of guys coming up doing jobs are feeling pretty resentful about this. You know.
Do you know what? The point about pay is this. Think about a long, extremely expensive equal pay case brought against Birmingham Council, the biggest single local authority in Europe, that was paying men who, it is agreed, do the same quality of jobs as men, up to 50,000 a year, and the women are getting 18,000 a year. The equal pay problem is not resolved in Britain, and if you want to be a man who supports common sense, who supports women, as you said, the women and men who are doing the ordinary jobs, look at the statistics and do something about it and say, I don't support unequal pay. The pay gap in the city has been so concerning to the Treasury Select Committee that they've had investigations into it. And one of the reasons that the pay gap in the city is so massive is because this is not just at the top level, this is absolutely routine. There's no opportunity to do collective bargaining. There's wage secrecy. There aren't any unions virtually in the City of London and the finance industries, and that's why you've got these massive inequalities. I don't know what you're getting wound up by us for. We're the ones who are saying that it's the culture that produces the polarisations between men and women.
Tom, do you want to come?
Men are bad.
Can I come in here? I'm Steve from Leeds.
Yeah, I'll come back to Tom in a minute. I'm just worried about him because he was exercised and he was all sort of very angry. Are you feeling any better, Tom?
I'm not wound up.
Oh, no, Nick, it's okay, I'm fine.
Okay, well, I'll come back to you in a minute, Tom. Steve, you come in here with your measured points, Steve.
May I speak?
You may I was just checking on Tom's well-being.
No worries. Yeah,
go on.
Yeah, okay. I'm an employer. I own a company, and I pay my employees, male or female, the same rate.
Good.
I respect the girls, if I may call them that. Am I allowed to call them that? They're fantastic employees. They're fantastic. They work hard. The boys work hard. Everyone works hard. I work hard. But at the same time, absolute respect and likeness and love, if that's the right word, for all the people who work for me. Is there anything wrong with that?
No, that's lovely.
Right. We're a growing company. We're working hard. We're going through difficult times, like everybody is at the moment.
Steve, do we have equality in the workplace? Are men and women now equal?
Equality, absolutely. If there's ever any inequality in my company, the person that is causing that inequality will be summoned to my office, and there will be problems.
Steve, that's as it should be, isn't it?
Okay.
No, I agree with you. That's absolutely as it should be.
Thank you very much. We are doing our best to create a business, to help families, to help people who want to work with us and who want to cooperate. What's wrong with that?
Okay, Tom, that's an excellent call, Steve. Tom, do you feel, like some people do, that there is a kind of men are in crisis?
At times, yeah. I applaud Steve. I applaud Steve. He sounds like a good employer. I work for a great employer, and everybody is equal. So, and I have no problems with that. The problems I have is when you have there are some women like our friend Julie who comes on and spouts that things are unequal when on the ground, normal everyday life, most workplaces I've found with the places I go, most places women are treated entirely equally. In fact, other times you mentioned earlier that the women tend to have have more time off. For one reason or another, and they're treated entirely equally, and I think it's just annoying when they come on and say no in the boardroom, in this and in that, and it may well be true, and
it is true.
That's fine, and I hope it's sorted out, but let's start looking at normal working class people, normal people who get up in the morning and go to work, because all those people are equal.
But we are, you see, the thing that I think is so cruel about this, let me tell you, I did a story on a group of women who had been unequally paid in the health service in Cumbria, Whitehaven and Workington, all of their working lives. They took an equal pay case that was extremely arduous. They won. And some of those women, for the first time, were able to save, were able to get the guttering sorted out.
Well,
The reason I'm saying this to you is because you're right. For working class women, this is really, really important because they're paid the least well, and they're the ones with most responsibilities on the planet. So they're the ones who really matter in this conversation, and they're the ones that I'm worried about, and they're the ones who actually have to shoulder all of the responsibilities and get least acknowledgement for it. So what we do know is that they are not paid equally. The statistics year after year are showing us that the equal pay battle basically has stabilised.
All right, I want to ask you as well.
It's just gone level. Nothing is happening.
I want to ask you in a minute if you can stay for a couple of minutes about this supposed crisis in masculinity, if I can say it properly. Okay, we'll come to Tim in Pontypool as well. Thanks for the calls. More, please. 0500 909 693. Who won the battle of the sexes? And I'm delighted that Beatrix Campbell joins us, the feminist academic, writer, and journalist, and Jay in Birmingham, to whom we'll speak to. Hello, morning, Jay.
Oh, hi. Good morning. It's just a very quick call. Listen, I'm sitting here listening to this, and I have to say that I feel very sorry for some employees these days, some employers these days. I have to say that I don't want such a radical feminist talking on my behalf. She does absolutely not reflect the majority of women, and her comments on violence and punishment in a discussion on sexism in the workplace are absolutely inappropriate.
Which feminist are you talking about? Are you?
I'm so sorry, I didn't get her name. The woman who was talking about violence and punishment on women who, don't behave themselves when...
Is that earlier on? Was that Julie Bindle? Was that before 9 o'clock?
I think it was.
Yeah.
And it's really just one very final point because we're all. I've got a dash, but my husband, I have to say, has absolutely been subject to being managed by completely incompetent women who have been promoted above male colleagues purely to satisfy quotas in the workplace. Now, we're all very grateful to the very early feminists who did fantastic work in enabling us to get the vote and equal pay. But those days, they did not have such positive discrimination. And I think that let's reflect that, and let's not forget that women do fit pretty well these days. So really, that's all I just wanted to point out. And if we're going to have a discussion on this, don't bring in things like violence and punishment and how awful women get it, because we really don't. We have it very, very good these days in the majority.
Thank you, Jay. Beatrice Campbell, we have it very, very good these days.
We have it very, very good. Well, that's very interesting, because you know what happens every time a woman has a child? Across her earning lifetime, she loses around 140,000 across her lifetime. She can expect
Well, she gains much more, doesn't she?
Well, she gains a child, but so does a man. And the point about this is that the way that we organise how we earn a living wage and how we organise our domestic life means that women always lose economically. I think the thing that we need to sort out is very basic things like, why do we work the longest hours in Europe? Because the effect of that means that men's relationship to their children at the very time when they're really, really needed is that they're rendered kind of visitors in their own homes because they're working such very long hours. The woman who was just talking now, yeah, we've got it better, but we haven't got it equal. By no measure have we.
Is there a crisis in masculinity?
Well, I'm waiting to see what it is. Are men having nervous breakdowns because there's something intolerable about being a man? Are men's relationships with women worse than they ever were? My experience
Do men understand anymore what they're...
Men actually feel that their relationships with women are probably better than they've ever been in the history of humans.
Do some men have a problem understanding what their role is anymore?
Do they?
I don't know, I'm asking you. Have you heard this? Have you heard tell of this anywhere?
I've heard tell of it, but I don't know any man who's actually, ailing from this. What is their role? To be a human being.
Kristen Didcott.
Take care of their children. To be nice to women. I don't know what's difficult about that.
Kristen Didcott, do you want to come in here?
Yeah, I think it's... I've thought of a couple of points since I came in. I just want to talk about sexual harassment.
It's a